this is Fatima Yvonne of Peace, Love and Artistry, and we are here with another video. Today's a little bit more of a personal, I guess, and serious topic. So, if you didn't watch my last video, go watch it. I gave you basically a tour of the birthing center of which that I'm going to have my baby. Now, mind you, I'm having my baby at a birthing center, not a hospital like most people do. In our area that we're in, as far as Michigan and New York and all of our area of the United States. So even despite the fact that I work at one of the biggest hospitals in Michigan, like one of the top hospitals, I work there. I've been working there for several years, and I still am choosing to have my baby at a birthing center. So let's get into the why. So, unless you've been living under a rock, or you just don't pay attention to these topics, there has been a lot of talk about the mortality rate, or the rate of death that has increased in the black community among black women who are, giving birth, and how they give birth and they pass away, or some complication happens and they end up dying. Like, for example, Serena Williams, that almost happened to her. Remy Ma. Who else? If you guys are familiar with Judge Lynn Toler of Divorce Court, her daughter died shortly after giving birth. And all of these people gave birth at a hospital, and all of these people are not me. Now, mind you, most of them, they come from money. You know what I'm saying? So they're celebrities. So if a celebrity is going through something that serious, I would think that me, a regular person, could go through something just as serious. Now, I'm not saying, there's other factors that play into, that and all that. But I feel that there is, okay, let me explain this some more. So, I've worked in the hospitals, I've worked in several different departments, I've worked in the departments that deal with moms right after they have their babies. So, typically, if you have a vaginal birth or a C-section, vaginal births, you may be able to leave, I think, within 28 to 48 hours after having your baby. If you have a C-section, I believe you have to stay at least 3 to 4 days, depending on what's going on. I've cared for these moms. Even, I've been there. So, for me to not understand the idea of someone giving birth in a safe environment and then going home and then, telling their doctor on the phone, hey, something feels weird, and then they get rushed into the hospital at the last minute, and then, they're barely scraping out with their lives, that says a lot to me. Like, I had my baby in a safe environment. Then I go home and there's complications. Like, ain't nobody going home to no cage. You come home to this, and you got to go back and be rushed back to the hospital after you've already been there for a couple of days, and they weren't listening to you, or couldn't figure out, or couldn't pinpoint what was wrong with you before they sent you home. Like, that just screams something's not right, something's not working for me. And the fact that, knowing this by working in the hospital, that there are certain policies and procedures and things that they have in place, which is all institutions, because it's a business. They have certain policies and procedures that are in place. So if there's certain things that are going on with you, whether your blood pressure is to this, or the baby's the baby's heart rate is this, that may be within the criteria to make you have a C-section, even though you don't necessarily have to have a C-section. Or the environment itself could be stressful to you. The nurses and the doctors, people coming in, you got IVs hooked up, whatever. That environment could be stressful to you, excuse me, causing you to have a higher heart rate, which is putting stress on the baby, and causes you to, by their criteria and policy, to have a C-section. Like, ideally, most people, I know there are some people out there who are okay with having C-sections. I personally have never had surgery or anything like that, so I don't want anybody cutting on me, especially having to cut my baby out of me when I have a whole vagina that the baby is supposed to be able to come out of. No shade, but just saying. That's just me personally. So, with that being said, since I've never had surgery, the idea of someone cutting on me and snatching my child out of my belly is a bit much. Um, so with that being said, when me knowing these things, I am choosing to have my baby in a birthing center because of the simple fact that I can have my baby how I want to. Now, even though the hospital that I work for, they do have natural birthing centers, these centers do not, and they have, like whirlpools and waters, little water tubs and stuff that you can that you can labor in. And as far as laboring, that means you can dilate and contract in. But when it comes time for you to push your baby out, you got to get your butt up, 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 and get on that table and push the baby out, which doesn't make any sense to me. How is it a natural birthing center if I can't have my baby in the water or around the room however I want to? It's said that years before, you know, things were institutionalized in the hospital, that women had their babies and they would squat. Gravity would help you get your baby out. Or that water births were things that kind of helped calm and kind of ease the pain. This is what we did before we had modern medicine and all these different technological, new things. I can't think of. Sorry, y'all. I can't use big words right now. But so with that being said, I am choosing to have my baby at a natural birthing center. There will be about 3 midwives there with me, along with my family and friends, whoever can go up there with me. Along with, I have a doula, who is a birth support person. And even if you're having a baby in a hospital, I believe you should have a doula, because they're like another person who can just be there for you, support you, as well as you have a voice. Because it seems like the issue with being African American or black or, whatever you identify as, black, African American, Afro Latino, whatever, that they don't listen to us when we are telling them. And this has happened to other patients as well, not just black women. I know I've heard some stories that happen to, other races, ethnicities of women as well. Excuse me. But for black women especially, when we tell them something's wrong, they don't listen to us. And if you don't listen to me and I'm telling you something's wrong, what is the point? What is the point of me having a baby at a hospital, and the doctors and the staff isn't going to listen to me when I say something's wrong, and then I damn near die after having my baby because I end up bleeding to death because someone didn't do their job properly or something opened up on the way. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's just, that's not my narrative. I'm not going to make that my narrative. And even though the hospital, like I said, I work for one of the top hospitals in Michigan, I'm not having my baby there because I'm a very naturopathic, homeopathic person in the first place. But, excuse me, to be able to choose and have say-so over my birth, if I want to keep my placenta or not, or do I want to keep it attached to my baby? Some people do that. Or do I not want to get them circumcised? Do I not want to get them vaccinated? Like, having your baby at a birthing center, they are catering to you and your baby. And it's more so you can do things the way you want to do them. Like, you don't have to have somebody tell you, oh, the longest you can keep the placenta attached is 3 minutes. And we're going to clamp it and cut it, and we're going to take it and put it in this white little bucket, and then you're never, ever going to see it again. What are you doing with what just came out of my body? Like, I worked at the hospital. They put them in basically like a little plastic container. They put them in a fridge. They might I know they, you know what, I don't even know. Honestly, I don't know if they label them with your information or not, honestly. But they go in the refrigerator, and when that refrigerator gets full, you call somebody, and they take them down to the basement or wherever that location is in the hospital that they go. They go somewhere, and you never see it again, and you don't have any say so over it, although it came out of your body. Like, I don't even care if I had to get like a heart transplant. Like, low key, like if I had to get a heart transplant or I had to get any kind of organ transplant, I want my old one. What are y'all doing with that? Like, maybe I'm just weird, but that placenta thing, it depends on, how deep and spiritual you are, but the placenta thing, especially with them having stem cell research and all kind of stuff, that goes deep. You can go really deep, and I'm not going to go that left with you guys because a lot of people aren't into that, especially when it comes to like African spirituality. There's a lot of things, that have to do with that. But with that being said, I am having my baby at a natural birthing center, the one that I showed you guys. And like I said, if you didn't see it, go check out the last video. I'll have a doula, so maybe I will, if you guys think or you would like to, I could see if I can get my doula to collab and do a video so she can tell you the importance of having a doula, because I don't know all the specifics of the importance, like the stats, but I just know that they are a wonderful person to have to support you and help you through this process, especially if your partner doesn't necessarily understand, or you have some family members who haven't had kids in a long time and they can't tell you their experiences or stuff like that. So it's always great to have a doula. So yeah. So yeah. Yeah, I said everything. I mentioned the vaccines because even with that, if you have your baby in a hospital, like it you have to fight to have everything done your way. And I'm not fighting with anybody, especially something that I'm paying for. Like, okay, let me just make this last point. So you're telling me that the baby that I carry for 9 months, I can't choose how I'm going to have the baby, if I can keep the placenta. I got to fight with you about getting him circumcised or not. And I also have to fight with you about vaccines. Like, that's just too much. Too much, too much, too much, too much, too much. I'm not dealing with all of that. And I got to pay y'all. So I got to pay y'all to fight about all of this stuff. Where are my rights? Where am I taking into consideration my experience of having a birth? And I feel like it's because births are like business, it turns people off from doing it again. Like all this paperwork, all this red tape and stuff you gotta go through. Like it just sounds like a turn off as far as having a baby. Like, oh yeah, I gotta go through all this paperwork, and it's just too much. It's too much. It's too much. You should be able to just squat wherever you need to have, with support and people checking on you, and go from there. That should be it. That's it. One more thing that I did want to add, though, you guys, when it comes to having your baby in a birthing center, you have to meet a certain criteria as far as your health. So if you're at risk, or, you have all these medical issues and going on, it's going to be more difficult for you to have your baby at a birthing center. Typically, for the most part, a birthing center is for someone someone who is very healthy, the baby's in the right position. There's multiple factors that have to deal with health and things of that nature that go into you being able to have your child at a birthing center, which I'm assuming a lot of people may or may not fit within the criteria. I don't know everyone's health status or anything of that, but me, I am a person who is not sickly. I don't have any major, issues. The most I have is like allergies. So I just definitely want to put that out there, that when it comes to having a child at a birthing center, there is a certain criteria that involves you being healthy, as well as the positioning of the child, for you to be able to have a baby. I mean, they do have techniques where they can turn the baby and all the other kind of stuff, but it's not anybody who's considered high risk, although I do feel like they say black women are high risk. But if you're healthy, like decently healthy, you know, you're active, you eat your vegetables, you drink water, you know, you're not on any major medications for blood pressure, cholesterol, you know, you don't have, you know, major stuff going on, you would be a candidate. So I just want to make sure that I do put that out there and make sure you guys know that I am a pretty healthy person for the most part. So yeah. Thank you guys so much for watching. This is Peace, Love, and Artistry by Fatima Yvonne. And don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe, and comment down below and tell me what you guys think about, you know, having babies and childbirth, or if you guys ever had a baby, or if you can relate to any of the things that I'm speaking of, or am I just talking out the side of my neck? Am I talking out the side of my neck? Let me know. But yes, stay tuned, and like I said, maybe I could make a video with my doula and talk about the importance of that. So yeah.